Let's talk about standardized testing, specifically the ACT and SAT. Just to show a couple different examples of how the ACT and the SAT are both similar and different, we have some of this information. First of all, scoring on both tests is a little different. The ACT has a max score of 36. The SAT has a maximum score of 1600. Both test reading and math and language and grammar skills. The ACT tests science. The SAT does not have a science section. Instead, it has two different math sections, one where you can use a calculator and one where you cannot. For both of them, the test takes about 3 hours to complete, and the cost for both is very, very similar as well. If you're thinking about which test you should take, that answer depends on a few different things. For example, what possible schools are you applying to? Typically, schools on the East Coast do like the SAT just a little bit more. However, it also depends on your citizenship status. If you're an American citizen, it's most common for you to take the ACT, especially if you're just planning on attending a school that's in the Midwest. If you're not sure if you'll stay in the Midwest or try to travel a little bit further away, especially to one of the coasts, you might want to do both tests. It also depends on your preference. If you research each test a little bit further, you might see that one might fit your strengths a little bit more than the other, and so you can make your decision in that way as well. If you're an international student, it is most common for you to take the SAT. If you're wondering whether you should take a test at all or not, you should really make sure you do your research. For example, know what your school's policies are. Yes, there are lots of schools that are test optional. However, you'll want to know exactly what that means for that particular school. Each school has a slightly different definition of what that means for their admissions process. Connected with that, many schools are test optional for admissions, but still do like to see a test score for scholarship consideration. Other schools say we're test optional for everything, admissions and scholarships. Do your research. Finally, if you're planning on taking a test, you can certainly do so without doing any study, but it's probably in your best interest to do at least some study. We do have a free test prep software connected with Naviance that students have access to. We'll talk about that further in a different video, but you should really know, how much am I willing to study? How much time am I willing to put into this so that I'm ready to take that test? To register for these tests, you'll want to go to either act.org or collegeboard.org. You should know also that registration is about 1 month before the test date, or you'll have to pay a late fee in order to test. We do offer tests at St. Croix Lutheran in the fall that you can sign up for on our website. If you go to a test center on a Saturday, those do fill up, so you'll want to register for those as soon as you know what test date you're searching for. When your test is done, typically scores will come about 2 to 3 weeks after the test is complete. When you are filling out your test, you'll have the option to list up to 4 schools that should receive your test scores automatically. That is for free. If you have schools that come up later that you want your scores sent to, that will cost you a fee per school.